This is Morocco, the world's fourth largest Arab country located in North Africa, which controls the future of the whole world. But what is it that has given Morocco this unique advantage? And why the eyes of all the superpowers of the world are currently on Morocco? People think of bats as a disease-carrying animal, but few people know that the human population has quadrupled in the last 100 years because of the same bat. In 1822, the European explorer Alexander Vaughan was passing through the South American country of Peru when he saw something very surprising. In fact, the land in Peru is not at all suitable for agriculture, but there was lush green grass and rolling fields. When Alexander asked the people there why, he found out that they put the excrement of bats and some seabirds on their fields, which made their land produce many times more. Alexander brought this knowledge to the Western world, and then using it as a fertilizer, Western countries began to increase their agricultural production. In 1913, Fritz Haber discovered the method of artificially producing the same fertilizer. Due to the same fertilizer, the human population was literally explored in just 100 years. From 1912 to 2012, the population of the whole world increased from 1.5 billion to 7.7 billion. Everything was going well. But then in 2010, scientists made a very alarming discovery that the two compounds used in this fertilizer, potassium and phosphate, also known as potash in combined form, are rapidly disappearing from our Earth. Now, the reserves of potassium in our Earth are probably for the next 100 years. But on the other hand, the reserves of phosphate are probably only for the next 50 years. And the second biggest problem is that we cannot create phosphate artificially. Many countries have started implementing strict policies to conserve phosphate reserves, and as a result, phosphate prices have increased by 80% between 2020 and 2021. In September 2021, China completely banned the export of its phosphate reserves in order to produce enough fertilizer for its population to avoid food shortages. Now, the big interesting point here is that China has the second largest phosphate reserves in the world, but they constitute only 5% of the world's reserves. Syria has the world's third largest phosphate reserves, accounting for only 3% of the world's reserves. Similarly, the rest of the countries also have 1 to 2% phosphate reserves, but there is one country that has 75% of the phosphate reserves, and that is Morocco. 75% of the world's phosphate reserves are in Morocco. Just imagine that a country has such a resource at its disposal, on which the future and survival of the people of the whole world is dependent. Which countries will be able to apply fertilizers to their crops, and which countries will not? Morocco will decide this. Whenever the survival or future of humans is dependent on something, wars become inevitable as a result. Now that our future is dependent on artificial intelligence, all the superpowers are exploring the metal lithium that powers this AI. And how this discovery can lead to a world war in all of human history. The most blood has been shed to secure the food supply. Unfortunately, our world is now at the point where there is going to be a severe shortage of food very soon, and powerful countries will go to any lengths to alleviate this shortage. Morocco is soon to occupy a very powerful position in international geopolitics. Because this is what we have seen historically going back 150 years in the 19th and 20th centuries. All oil production was in the hands of the United States, and that is what made it a superpower. In the 18th century, the British Empire had the largest metal reserves in the world, and on the basis of this, it ruled the entire world. And Morocco has such resource reserves on which the survival of the entire human race is dependent. No nation or country has had such an advantage in the entire human history that Morocco is going to get, but only time will tell what its implications will be.